So, as many of you may remember, I said that my favorite anime of 2024 was the Apothacary Diaries, and I stand by that statement. I'm a firm believer this series is one of the all-time just perfectly crafted anime. Some of you may say that's a crazy statement to make, but that's how I feel. I think this show looks gorgeous, has incredible music, incredible characters, really fun, interesting mysteries that are never quite the same thing, but always do a good job of involving the culture, the understanding of the world, the mentality of the people. Everything of the era is worked in to every mystery and every arc of this series, all of which is perfectly carried by such an incredible character as Mao Mao. In my opinion, one of the great female characters of the last few years. Seeing someone who lives in a society at a time where she should not have the ability to really stand up for herself or carve out a place in the world in the way she does, I think is genuinely just fun and awesome to watch. And seeing how she deduces mysteries and solves problems and how it's always like explained to you in a straightforward way, I think is something that I wish other mystery shows, cough cough Sherlock, would do way better. I know that show is done, but I still like complaining about it. But yeah, and I am a firm believer that season 2 does a great job of continuing what makes season 1 so great. The show still looks great. I loved all the lore bits we learned. I loved how much we went into things like the previous emperor. We learned more about culture in the palace, the way we just see more of this era and just the political structure of everything. This show so masterfully handles everything, presents everything to you in a way that is fun, entertaining, and always has you wanting to come back for more. In particular, I loved in season 2 all the stuff with Jinshi. Watching that character develop and come more into his own, watching how his, let's be honest, infatuation with Mao Mao is changing his perception of the world and his own self-worth and how it's allowing him to grow as a person. I think Jinshi is a genuinely great character and a perfect yin to Mao Mao's always entertaining yang. The other side characters I think in this are also great. I, like everyone else, did really like everything with Shisui. Everything with the other friend was a lot of fun. I love whenever you get to learn more about the other concubines and the other people in their world. All of it is always so absolutely fascinating. This is the kind of show where pretty much any character who gets more than like 3 sentences of dialogue, I think I could just watch a show of. Like, I could watch a show of just the weird concubine political shit. Yeah, why not? Also, 2 of them are super fucking hot. I'll watch that anytime. Just everything about the show I think works so well. I love the cute toddler. I love the cute cat. I love everything. Go watch Apothacary Diaries. It is an amazing anime. It deserves your attention. Go watch it right now. All right. Now that I have done everything in my power to tell you all how much I love the Apothacary Diaries, it's time to talk about the one problem. And let me make this clear. This is a problem mostly because of the incredibly high standard this show holds it to. If it was any other anime that did what this series did, I would not care. I think it would be great. I would be enthralled. It is simply because this show has shown us the level of quality it wants to be at. So when it makes the following misstep or two, I think it's a problem. And I don't really see anyone else talking about it or even anyone giving their thoughts on what they think of it, positive or negative. So I'm going to be that guy. Again, massive fan of this show. Remember that. Remember that. Also, from here on out, spoilers. I'm literally talking about what is the second half and climax and finale of the show. So in order to properly explain myself, I have to talk about that. So, right. 3, 2, 1. The problem with this season, and it is a very common problem with super sleuth type characters. It's a problem with Mao Mao, and that is, in order to make a super sleuth character compelling and interesting, you have to write them with some sort of innate flaw. There has to be a reason, as if there's something like they've sacrificed within their own mind or personality in order to be that intelligent. With a character like Sherlock Holmes or Dr. House, it is their just ability to like socialize or like interact with people normally, which is why they're often written to be assholes, that has allowed them to view the world in a certain way that makes them intelligent. With Mao Mao, they've avoided making her a jerk, but to do this, they have made it that she's very emotionally stagnant. She lacks the ability to really understand a lot of her more complicated feelings about things. She lacks the ability to understand people's emotions towards her, and she in turn does not know how to treat them in kind. Now, to be fair, the show does try to use this as a plot point. The scene of her after the Jinshi two-parter, where she is sitting there kind of feeling bad that she's just now realizing Jinshi was trying to be genuinely honest and talk to her at an equal human level, and her response was to just ignore it. Seeing that does make her feel guilty and feel bad, I think is a really great moment. And seeing how this continues as she doesn't know how to treat her relationship with Shisui, and at the end of the season, when she read the other friend's letter and knowing that she has now lost that ability to have a friend like that just because the girl has moved, I think is a really beautiful and sad moment. Just that single tear is so great. Unfortunately, because, as is the problem a lot of times in super sleuth shows, because she is so emotionally stagnant, it causes the show to start to suffer. Like, again, not heavily, but it's noticeable. In particular, that two-parter was really building itself up as being a massive plot progression for both what is the deal with Jinshi and his relationship with Mao Mao, and potentially change how she thinks of him, as I kind of would like that relationship to go somewhere. I don't need it to be romantic, but I at least need to feel like these two characters are at a different spot between just the bickering and throwing one-liners at each other stage of their relationship, whatever that turns into. But no, it ends basically returning to point one. Then we don't address the fact that Mao Mao feels bad about how she sometimes is towards Jinshi. Also, she grabbed his junk. That's just weird. But then it continues on in the next arc. She doesn't really care that she's being kidnapped. She doesn't care she's not there for the one concubine. She doesn't really care about anything. She's getting to learn more about that death and rebirth fluid. That's a problem, because the rest of the season is based on the fact that Mao Mao's been kidnapped and needs to be saved. Your protagonist is now hindering your story because she has no emotional investment in what's happening. Everything when we get to the village is so slow, and she's just like experiencing the village. She's not afraid for her life. There is no danger. She is just going through the motions day to day, learning about the culture, getting to go to festivals, eat good food, meet annoying children. It's very much just like everything has continued the same, and it makes the whole season feel very stagnant. Mao Mao's not really growing as a person, I think, in a way that really interweaves with the story right. Like, it kind of just feels like every now and again they remember, oh yeah, we should probably show some emotional growth for her. But for the most part, the show is content with having her just kind of be the way she is. And again, super entertaining character, but it becomes a problem when you see everyone else developing. All the Jinshi stuff, when Mao Mao gets kidnapped, is incredible. Watching him go through the frustration of losing someone he's falling for, and seeing how that actually brings out that dark side that comes from being the product of sexual assault, and seeing that he does have that manipulative ability in him of the previous emperor, and how when people see that, it scares them, and in turn you see how that affects him. And it's incredible. Just fascinating. Perfect storytelling. So it sucks when the protagonist is holding it back. But yeah, all in all, I still love this show to death. Mao Mao is still incredible, even if some of just the typical problems with these characters are starting to show. And I cannot wait for season 3, which is being called a sequel series. Don't know what that's about, but we will see in due time. But what did you think about this series? In the comment section below, give me what you liked about season 2, what you didn't like, if anything. Did any of this bother you like it did me? It probably didn't. I'm probably alone on this. But give me your thoughts about that in the comment section below. And as always, click to like, click to subscribe, and join me next week as we go from talking about one great female character to another.